Okay, how's everyone doing? All right, good morning. It's a beautiful day in Southern California, and it's certainly a gorgeous day here on the campus. And it's incredibly privileged and thrilled to welcome you to the 11th Annual Global Supply Chain Excellence Summit. I know many of you have flown thousands of miles from Asia, Europe, out of states, and some my Southern California constituents. Every year you show up to be part of this amazing journey, what we call the Supply Chain Excellence Summit. And the vision from first one to 11th one has been the same. How do we bring industry, regulators, governance bodies, students together and talk about the issues of supply chain that matters the most? So this year's theme, if you imagine and reflect on it for a second, reprogramming global supply chain DNA. It's a pretty powerful statement when we talk about reprogramming DNA. So let's take a moment to think about why. We went through one of the significant supply chain event, what I call this event of the century, a COVID-19 disruption. So if you happen to you fell asleep on February of 2020 and you woke up today, you missed the most exciting part of the supply chain history, which was an absolute end-to-end disruption, shutdowns, delays, and that was in making for almost 4 decades. So the reprogramming of DNA, the reason we really came up with this theme was the business that we taught in the classrooms, the case studies we practiced, running the corporations of supply chains over the last 4 decades can no longer be the practices of the future. Not for a decade, 5 years, we must think differently. So reprogramming of DNA, basically, we are actually taking the leadership of thinking about strategy, thinking about the human capital, and what I call the new world disorder, right? So 4 decades of prosperity, of globalization, and peaceful trade, connecting the continents are being threatened, being disrupted. So I think this is really an inflection point for our human civilization. And today and tomorrow, that's what we're going to talk about it. What will it take for you guys to start to think differently? The leadership is no longer about the continuous improvement on the marginal surfaces. It's about the paradigm shift. And I would even challenge not only paradigm shift, but the paradigm breaks. We taught optimization, right? And I remember in my undergraduate days of industrials and systems engineering, optimization was single dimensions focused on efficiencies, driving the cost, or improving speed to market. Guess what? Today, you are faced with that being one of the many variables that you're going to have to deal with. Sustainability is a big issue. Agility, resiliency. You can no longer design the networks without thinking those things in the front burner of your equations. We are running in a very extreme turbulent geopolitical turbulences across the world. What will that look like? How will that impact your corporations, your enterprise? How are you going to be the steward of your community? And let's not forget the human capital. I am so thrilled to welcome here 132 strong member of my cohort 11. Please rise up and let's give a round of applause for welcoming them to Masters of Science in Global Supply Chain Management. Thank you. These are the leaders that we will get to shape over the next 16 months to think holistically. Think about the triple bottom line mindset, the people, the profit, and the planet Earth, and all 3 at the same time. We can no longer live in the silos of the corporation and profit-minded only. Because if you've done that and been successful for the last 40 years, I will challenge you, the next 5, 10, and 20 would not serve the humanity. the purpose for which we are all here on this planet Earth. So I think it's an exciting thing. When I wake up every morning, I look at these things sort of blessings, because if you are in the field of supply chain, there has not been better time than the times that we are in, right? Holistic leadership, a genuine interest, caring our community, taking care of our environment, our planet, and absolutely driving the supply chain with innovations, digitizations, and taking care of the technology. And all of these things can happen and suddenly be part of it. And this is where this institute has a strong foundation over the last decade, and we plan to actually use that as a launching pad for the next decade to serve not only our constituents here in Los Angeles or Southern California, for that matter, California and the United States of America, but globally. We think we have a capacity, will, and resources to be able to create the influences, the circle of influence so big that we can actually reshape the DNAs of the supply chain coming decades. But then you ask me, but Nick, how is that possible? I think we're blessed with an incredible Trojan family. Globally, they're connected. It's not only what the university has done for them, it's about paying forward. And I challenge you, my students and those that are affiliated with USC or not even with the USC, if you feel this cause is worthy of something you want to be affiliated with, please continue to seek out opportunity in terms of being affiliated with our institute. I would love to have you sit at the table having these phenomenal discussions that we're going to be having it. Second is human capital. Right? This AI, ML, has taken over the narratives of our society today. Is that scary? Absolutely. Will it create a huge impact on human capital? You bet. Right? So think about the 70s and early 80s when the outsourcing boom occurred in this country, leapt close to 1.5 million working men and women on the Rust Belt, completely without any options. We created a generation with no tools, training, and a fallback. You just use that as a data point and amplify the impact of AI and ML and advanced robotics. This could have a significant impact on our society. So we, as an institute, all being it's a very small institute and our influences are limited, will play a critical role in not only providing the Masters of Science in Global Supply Chain Management, but lifelong learning, certifications, areas that we think that we can make an impact of building the human capital of the future. So I want to thank all my sponsors, my board member, my advisory board member, my summit committee here, for your continued support in making this institute best in class. Let's give a round of applause to all the sponsors and all my speakers and panelists here. And there's an old saying, right? It takes a village to raise a family, right? It does take a village to run an institute. I am blessed last year, a very good friend and our executive board member, Kendrick, who is generously gifted us to endow our Center for Global Supply Chain Management, what is now known as Randall R. Kendrick Global Supply Chain Management Institute. Through his generous gift, I think we are truly positioned to continue to fortify our approaches and our vision into the next decade. But along with Randy's support, my executive board, I cannot say enough about their commitment of excellence in being, serving, and supporting everything we do, right? Fearless optimisms and opportunities and trying new things, thinking outside the box. They are shoulder to shoulder in supporting that vision. Yesterday, during the VIP reception, I announced the change of leadership as 2 years' term have come to an end for our chair, Carl Mount, has now stepped into the role of a past chair. Carl, please stand up, and I want to thank you. So, Carl, if you can come up for a second. So, Carl, obviously, ever since I met Carl, Carl has been dedicated. Obviously, he's a diehard Trojan, but he's been an incredible supporter, working through, helping us through, and shaping and continue to supporting us. So there's a little certificate of recognition, Carl, for your contribution to this institute.
Thank you.
Thank you. You want to say a few words?
You already heard from me a little bit. Much appreciated. This has been, the last 2 years have been fantastic. I've loved it, but there's more years to come. I'll keep supporting Gene and then Noel after him and Nick, and I've enjoyed the last 2 years and appreciate all your support. Thanks.
Fight on, fight on. So our new chair, it is my pleasure to welcome Gene Soroka, who is going to be stepping in. Gene, come on up for a second. I want you to. Gene and I, we obviously go back over 2.5 decades. And Gene has been an extremely good friend and our supporter. We have done some great work together between our institute and Port of Los Angeles, and I am so thrilled to have him now be the chair of our institute. Come on up. Thank you.
Thanks, Nick, and good morning, everyone. Just trying to take off from where Carl left us. It's all about the students, trying to bring in the great caliber of students that we have today and find great careers for you in the future. Please remember, be visible, be mobile, and be durable. And we'll see ourselves through this great time as supply chain experts. Be visible because we know that we can text, we can chat, we can get over videos together, but being visible is what your stakeholders, your bosses, your customers are going to want to see. Be mobile. See everything this great world has to offer with our supply chain. Move around, do as much as you can, and be durable. When you start making decisions, when you're asked to lead, people will critique you, but stay strong. Have thick skin and see it through. With the Institute, we'll continue with the great applied research that we've been doing and make it even more applicable to the supply chain of tomorrow. This global summit is really the foundation for all the work that is being done here. And in the second decade of the Institute, we'll see it rise to even greater heights. And lastly, we'll keep bringing in more diversity to this organization. Public, private, academia will be represented from all corners of the earth. So I thank you for the privilege of this opportunity as chair, and Nick, fight on.
And of course, Noel Hasigaba, who you will get to hear tomorrow, will step into the vice chair role, and the vice chair-elect positions has been open now, and I look forward to any of you who wants to serve in this capacity. The nomination process is now open. Please send me an email, and then we'll go through the official election process for that. But it is incredible. And Stephanie, please stand up. I think she's been part of this summit from day one, and I want to thank you. And she's continuing to serve us, and I cannot thank you enough. So you're truly a Trojan without actually spending money. So appreciate it. All right. Do we have the next slide? Okay. I think you're up. So once again, folks, welcome. I am so thrilled that all of you are here. I hope you enjoyed today and tomorrow, and I look forward to spending some time with you. Fight on.